Good afternoon. So now that you've learned everything about the actual session of a mediation and how clients and counsels interact with each other and the entire procedure of the same, it's time to get to a part which most people tend to ignore because it doesn't directly involve them, involving the mediator in the course of the session. Now, in many a competition, you'll see that the mediator is non-competitive. For example, in the pool selections that we have over here, the mediator is not being scored at all. However, in other competitions such as ICC Paris and of course CDRC Vienna, the mediator is very involved in the proceedings and is actually being marked as well. So keep in mind that the procedure for the same differs accordingly. However, just because a mediator is non-competitive, like you'll see in the pool selections, this is not an excuse to ignore them or not involve them over the course of the mediation. Understand that the term mediation is called the same because of the extensive involvement of the mediator. He or she is your friend, he or she can be your confidant, and you as a client or a counsel are entitled to interact with the mediator one-on-one during a caucus as well. Before the start of every session, when the mediator gives his or her opening statement, he always specifies that this is a confidential session and he can only break confidentiality and communicate certain information to the other party only if you as the client allow for the same. So for example, over the course of a caucus, when you are interacting with him directly, you must specify that this is confidential information and it is not something that you want communicated to the other party. Or you can say that, yes, Mr. Mediator, I believe that this is information that you may communicate because it is something that will facilitate our resolution of the problem at hand. Now, aside from the caucuses, the mediator also has extensive involvement during the actual proceedings, during the conference. In the very beginning, he must take down the agenda of both the parties, list it out in a point form. Many a time, the mediator may also use the whiteboard that is often provided during such a setting. This agenda is also very, very important, as you already know, and it becomes crucial for the mediator to make sure that the parties adhere to their agenda. And interacting with the mediator in order to do the same is always going to give you brownie points because this adds structure to your proceedings and it adds a certain amount of confidence as well as conciseness, which is very, very important because as a client or as a counsel, one of the worst mistakes you can make is rambling and confusing your issues, which is why it is very important to involve the mediator. Many a time, the mediator will also involve himself or herself, and it would be a mistake to not allow for the same because they usually interject when they see that the interaction between the clients and the counsels, the two parties, is becoming fruitless. They believe that they can also add structure to the proceedings because that is their job. It is their job to make sure that proceedings do not go out of hand and are conducted with A, civility, and B, with purpose, which is why their job isn't just to adhere to the agenda, but also to gauge the parties' own interests and to gauge their feelings and their responses to particular situations that come up over the course of the conference. Which is why many a time, it is not only you who can suggest that there is now going to be a caucus, but the mediator may also do the same because he believes that there may be information that you may have to confide in him, which would be crucial to him, which may be crucial for him to either keep in mind while moving forward or to communicate to the other party should you allow the same. Which is why listen to the mediator. Of course, he is bound by your word as well, but listen to him when he says that this should be the course of action right now. Because A, he may just be right, and B, it may be ideal for your proceedings as well. Because a mediator has the perspective of a third party over here, who is outside of the client and counsel and less involved in the actual dispute, but definitely invested because his own, well, in real life, his own livelihood, and in many competitions, his own scores are very, very contingent on these proceedings. Which is why never make the rookie mistake of forgetting that there is a mediator in the room and not involving him. Thank you.